There's a question I've heard over and over again for years. Is it better to buy a home or rent and invest in the stock market? On the surface, it sounds like a financial question, but in reality, it's a question about human behavior. Because on paper, you can calculate everything: interest rates, expected returns, maintenance costs, taxes, opportunity cost. But in real life, very few people actually live like an Excel spreadsheet. I've met plenty of people who are smart. They understand money. They read investing books. They can talk markets all day long, and yet, 10 or 15 years later, their net worth has barely moved. Not because they're stupid, but because they don't act the way they know they should. And if that sounds familiar, you've probably asked yourself a very honest question before. So, where is the real problem? How is it buying the wrong house? Or not being good enough at investing? Or maybe neither of those is the real issue. In this video, I'm not taking the side of buy a house at all costs, and I'm not taking the side of rent forever and invest smarter. I just want to do one simple thing: tell the truth about what actually causes most people to move slower than they think. Not a lack of knowledge, but the way money is, or isn't, forced to stay and work for them. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to answer a question that matters more than choosing real estate or stocks. Is your money working for you? Or are you working your entire life and barely keeping any of it? If you've ever had a decent income but still felt like there's nothing left, known what investing is but struggled to do it consistently, or felt torn between stability and flexibility, then don't look away. Because what comes next isn't theory. It's what I've seen happen in real life. Again and again. I'll rent and invest. And what actually happens? A lot of people say this: renting is cheaper, I'll invest the difference. It sounds reasonable, but then I ask one follow-up question. How many months have you invested consistently? Silence. Here's the reality. When you rent, your rent doesn't force you to build anything. There's no payment that automatically turns into an asset. Everything depends on personal discipline, and humans aren't as disciplined as we like to believe. I lived this way for years: decent income, renting, telling myself I'll invest next month. But the money slowly disappeared into a nicer apartment, eating out more, travel, things that felt deserved. At the end of the year, my investment account was underwhelming, not because I didn't understand investing, but because nothing was forcing my money to stay with me. Buying a home isn't about getting rich. It's about not staying poor. There's a big misunderstanding. Buying a home makes you rich. No, buying a home rarely makes you rich quickly, but it does something extremely important. It prevents you from building nothing. When you have a monthly mortgage payment, part of your money is forced into an asset, even when you're tired, even when you forget, even when motivation disappears. I bought my first home when my income wasn't high, cash was tight, the house wasn't impressive, but after a few years I realized something simple. If I had kept renting, there's no chance I would have saved that much money. Not because I'm bad with money, but because life is very good at spending it for you. The wrong comparison: cash versus stocks. Most online comparisons miss the point. They say, homes grow slowly, stocks return more. But they ignore one critical detail. Most people buy homes with leverage. Real life example: you put down a relatively small amount, but you benefit from the price movement of a much larger asset. With stocks, you usually invest real cash. No one easily lends you money to buy long-term ETFs. And there's another thing people don't like to admit. You can't live inside a portfolio. Rent is money that disappears. A mortgage payment is expense plus accumulation. That psychological difference matters more than people think. The real answer: it's not black and white. So what's the conclusion? Not everyone should buy a home immediately. Renting isn't automatically wrong. Stocks aren't inferior. The truth is this: if you rent, you must invest seriously, consistently, and automatically. If you buy a home, don't pretend it replaces investing altogether. The people I've seen go the furthest usually do both. They have a stable place as a foundation, and they invest long-term, steadily. Because the most important question isn't about the asset. It's this: is your money being forced to stay and work for you? If the answer is no, then whether you choose housing or stocks, the outcome will look very similar. If you're renting and every year you say, next year I'll invest seriously, or if you own a home, but every month feels like you're just barely breathing, maybe the thing to re-examine isn't real estate versus stocks. It's the way your money leaves your hands quietly, consistently, without asking. Before trusting another theory online, ask yourself one honest question. If everything continues exactly like this, where will I be financially in 5 years? If that question makes you pause for a moment, leave a comment, even just one line. Not to prove you're right, but to start being honest with yourself. And from there, choose a path you can actually stick with.